So let's welcome Lori Renault, and she's going to talk about her book.
Thank you, Jim, very much. I'm very happy to be here and very excited to tell you about my book and share some information I hope you'll find valuable. So the name of my book, Not It, An Approach to Life, where did that come from? You know, a lot of people I've heard say, well, I don't know what I want. I know I don't want that, but I don't know what I want. But it also came from, do you remember playing a game when you were a kid? Not it, not it, not it. Especially, you know, the phone cords used to be about this long attached to the wall, and there were about 5 people in the house and one phone, and that phone would ring, and nobody wanted to answer it. So, not it, not it, not it. That's how it was at our house. We'd play not it with the phone. So eventually, whoever was last to say not it, they would answer the phone. Things have changed. We now all have cell phones, so that's not an issue anymore. But that was part of how I came up with the idea. And so the theme of the book is Not It, taking what you know you don't want to help clarify what you do. And so we're going to talk a little bit about dream building, and not everybody likes the term dream building. How about thinking about ideal life, or what are your ideals to live by, if that sounds a little too woo-woo to you. So let's get started. Before we think about our record keeping, it's best to know, what do we want and where do we want it? So I'll talk about bucket lists and buckets of money. So first we'll learn to just press pause in our day and to identify our dreams, communicate those with our loved ones, and to direct our budgets accordingly. And then we'll learn the simple step-by-step process of record keeping. And it's not hard, it's easy. And I've got low-tech options and high-tech options because some of us are very computer savvy and some of us are low-tech and really don't want a lot to do with the computer. So I've got both options here. And then I've got some money-saving tips at the end. Feel free to stop me at any time with questions or comments. So like I said, the talk is based on my book, Not It, An Approach to Life, and the underlying theme of the book is it's about the money. I've got some reader reviews. I'm going to pass those around if you're interested in hearing what others have said about the book. The Not It game in life is about discovering choices and deciding what works for you. It's about saying no to what's unhealthy and yes to what works best. It's a discovery process, a tool in life when you ask yourself what's next and you're not quite sure. I've worked with people as a coach. I think Jim mentioned that I'm also a coach. And there's pivotal points in our lives. Some of those pivotal points are when we have an empty nest, when we retire, when we decide to move to a different home or make a job change, whatever that is for us. So Not It provides clarity. Here's one of my reader reviews. Lori's concept of Not It has been so beneficial to my life. I can use that simple, catchy phrase to easily remind myself that certain things are not right for me. It could be not the right man, not the right job, not the right time. The uses for Not It are endless, and that's from Dawn Huffy. Okay, we were on a road trip earlier this summer, and my dear one and I were talking about our retirement and things we wanted to do, and just, you know, our hopes and dreams. And we're just talking and having fun, and then the silver Corvette zooms past us and pulls in front of us, and there's a license plate, B4, too late. That's it, we said. That's just what we were talking about. We want to do these things before it's too late, while we still have our health and our wealth. So the question is for you, what is it for you? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Plan it. Do it before it's too late. I've got a close friend who was just diagnosed with cancer in her mid-50s. And that pivotal point in her life has gotten her to look at her life differently. And what's not it anymore? Where do I want to focus my time? And I pray that, you know, everything goes fine for her and that she lives a good long while. But that, you know, was a wake-up. Life's too short. So I ask you to press pause and take time to dream. Identify your dreams and communicate with those you love. And then once you identify those, you can focus your goals, focus your money in those directions to your ideal lifestyle. So I want you to take a break with a pen and paper. Find your favorite beverage. Just sit down and relax. Or maybe you just do a brain dump and grab the magazines and create what's called a vision board. But what do you want your life to look like so it's different than it looks right now? And maybe you don't. Maybe everything's just fine right now. Pressing pause is a great tool to use when you're at a busy point in life or looking at the next season. So we've all put the boat away and beach bags are put away. We're all set up for fall. And now we're thinking about the holidays and snow and what do we need to do to get to through the next season between now and the end of the year. So it's talking about those things. So I say plan a date night with someone special, whoever it is, your spouse or someone that you want to share all these hopes and dreams with. And maybe there's trips that you want to take. I had a close friend, she and I took a trip to France a couple of years ago. So throughout the planning of our trip, for about a year, we had dinner every night for, once a week for about a year as we were planning that trip. And we're kind of foodies anyway, so we love to cook, and so we had a good time planning that out. So also think about how can I support you during this next stage in life, during this next season. Maybe you're running a marathon, maybe you're writing a book like I did, maybe you're taking a class or painting the garage, whatever it is for you. Basically, just communicate and share what you want so there's no acting ugly later on. And what do I mean by acting ugly? That's a chapter in my book. If you see the reader reviews, there's a table of contents in the back, and one of them is acting ugly. So here's some examples. Giving someone the look, you know what I mean by the look. Sarcastic comments, complaining, long looks, critical remarks, proving a point in not such a nice way like barking up someone's tree, belittling others, angry blow-ups, road rage, scolding, sighs, groans, and moans, stewing in negative thoughts while letting them seep out to those around you. Get the picture? When we're acting ugly, we can't seem to see beyond what we're acting ugly about. And maybe you've identified someone in your life who's acting ugly. Well, it's not your job to fix that person or fulfill his or her needs, even though there's an expectation you will. It's that person's expectation, not your obligation, even if he or she has a little tantrum. And I think we can think about our kids sometimes if you think about that. When our needs get met, we gain clarity. The crazies go away, we feel better, we draw people to ourselves. And that's what we need to start building the life of our dreams. Acting as ugly is the first clue that our needs aren't being met and we need to make a change. So that's the point of bringing that up. So when we communicate and share what we want, sometimes there's a bit of hip shooting going on because we don't know from day to day what we need to do to support each other with the next season, with the plans that we have, but we know it's coming up, so it's no surprise. So then we can deal with that. I know that marathon's coming up, so I know that I need to support that person in their training runs and all of that. So I ask you to take some time, take a few moments, and take a break. And here are some big pieces of paper. And I'm going to have each of you take one, and you can take these home and create your own dream sheet, if you will, or life of your dreams, or ideal life, whatever it is for you. And I have an example of one of mine. Now this is one, I just clipped magazine photos. I wanted to start running, and I started running maybe when I was in my late 40s. And so I just ran my first 10K. I had to do a couple of 5Ks first, and at first I would just run a little bit and get winded and go, but I wanted to do it. So that was on my vision board, and getting fit so that I can be active and healthy as I age. Travel is a big one for me, and so there are travel photos on here.
What's the one as we look at it in the lower left?
This one?
Yeah, where are you there?
We are in Hawaii.
Oh.
Ah, yes, yes. And we really love to travel, so travel's a big thing for us. But I'll just pass this around for an example, but maybe it's just writing down words. Maybe it's writing down the word Hawaii, or Italy, or Napa, or wherever it is that you want to go if travel's your thing. Maybe it's golfing. Maybe you just want to get out there and golf more. The point is to think about what it is that you want. And it might be different than what you thought you wanted. Maybe you thought, oh gosh, when I'm this age, this is what I'm going to want to do. But now that you are that age, oh, you know what? I don't think that's it. What I'd rather do is this. You know, circumstances change. So just take the time to dream. Maybe you're considering downsizing your home. Maybe you've been in the same home for 40 years, and it's time to say not it to the maintenance. Maybe you want a townhome or a condo or something. I just renovated a town or a condo, and I sold it. I decided that's not it. It was like living in an apartment building. And I put in the granite and the marble and the crystal chandelier, and it was, you know, it was fun. I put in all hardwood. I knocked down walls. I floor to ceiling, basically gutted the thing. I hired a contractor. I didn't do it all myself, but I designed it. It was fun, but the building was not for me. So now I'm in a townhome because I don't want the maintenance any longer. And so the next one I want, and this is something else you can do instead of a vision board, this is a binder, and this is a one-level townhome that I really liked, but the location's not it. But I liked it. And so in the binder, think about where do you want to be? Have a map. You know, maybe I want to be within this circle. Maybe there's certain components that I like I love that chandelier. Or, you know, that's a really nice refrigerator. There's a stove. Oh, there's another picture of some vacation stuff. That's still something I've got. There's paint colors I found. You know, there's a lot of different things. So you can get your graph paper out and sketch out what you might like. Maybe I want a 3.5-car garage, 4-car garage, so I can store the snowmobile and the ATV and the boat and, you know, golf clubs and whatever it is. But the thing is, it's about what you want. So that's another example you can do. But the point is to think about what do you want now and communicate it, and then think about taking those bucket lists and then take a bucket of money for each of those things that you want. So it's like a someday thing. Anybody like to cook, bake? Yeah, you like to? Yeah? Well, I've got a treat for you over there. I baked cookies for you, and it's a recipe that's in the book because I've got recipe conversions in the nutrition chapter. So I'll hand those out in a little bit. But when you've got something that you're contemplating, now I'm all about putting goals on things, but only about the things that you want to do right now. When you're setting goals, that's your action steps. But for those someday things, put those in the back burners. Think about making a stew and just putting that on the pot and it's simmering. And gradually those pieces are coming in. Or think about making a cake. Do raw eggs or flour or cocoa, do those taste good alone? Yuck. They don't. But when you put them all together and you put it in the oven and then you wait patiently, then you pull out that marvelous, yummy chocolate cake. But until then, you're waiting. And so that's sort of like this dream thing, or waiting for that ideal life. First, you have to identify your ingredients or your components that you want to put on your bucket list, and then you designate the dollars. It's like a puzzle. So it's like taking a puzzle, and it's puzzle pieces coming in. So if you're working on a puzzle, and you know, it might sit there for a week. And when you've got some time, and you put a few pieces together, and oh, those fit, and nothing else seems to work, and then you walk away from it for a while. That's like having that pot sitting on the back burner. And sometimes those pots do need to be tended to and stirred a little bit and looked at, and that's when you look at your binder and you go, oh, you know what, there's another open house and it's in a different location. Maybe I'll go to that open house and see what that other single-level townhome looks like. Maybe it's better than this one, I don't know. But that's how you find out. So just think about that. And sometimes a pot needs to be dumped. Like, you find a house, you really want it, oh, somebody else got it instead of me. I didn't get to the realtor in time. So those, you know, there's some things that need to be dumped, like a project you decide that is not it. Here's a not it project. I thought this was really cool yarn, and I haven't crocheted for years, obviously. I thought this would be a great scarf. It looks more like a collar. It's curved. So I got to this point, and I said, not it. So this is going to be donated, and this is going in the garbage, but I just wanted to show you my not it project. So it doesn't have to, the concept doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be a small little, going, okay, not it. So if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Okay, now we're going to play a little game. I've gotten behind on my pages here, so maybe I'll try and catch up. Here we go. So let's play green light, red light. Think about your energy level. You're working on a project. Think about me crocheting on that thing, right? So as your energy drops, that's a good time to press pause and go, okay, is that a not it activity? So I know when you are at a stoplight and it's yellow, it always goes to red. I know that, but not in this game. You think of it being at a T in the road. So it's yellow, and one way is red and one way is green. So your energy is really good. Okay, let's do more of that. Your energy is really bad. It's just sucking the life out of you. Then no, not it. So then stop it. But if you are obligated to finish it, maybe see if you can make it fun, turn on some music, do what you can to get through it. Can you delegate it? You know, maybe it's something that you don't want to ever have to do again. Maybe it's cleaning, and maybe I say, you know what, I'm going to hire a housekeeper. So just ask yourself, how can I get more green lights in my life, and how can I eliminate the red lights? The first step is awareness, and letting the situation unfold to make the necessary changes. Sitting back and wishing for a change doesn't make a change. So be in the wonder of it. Watch the evidence appear like those puzzle pieces coming in. Think about driving your car. So when you're driving your car, you know that you're going to get there because you are, let's say you're on Highway 61, you're driving from Forest Lake to Hugo. You know you're going to get there, but you can only see so far ahead, especially at night when you're driving and you've got your headlights, you can only see as far as those headlights. So when you've got your plan in place, you don't always see from point A to point B, but you know you've got a plan, so you know you're going to get there. Think about that as a savings plan. You know that by adding money every month or every, periodically, you know you're going to eventually get to your goal. But now let's talk more about those buckets of money. So now we've done our dream building, we've communicated that. I've got a couple, now I changed their names, but I've got a typo in there. I've got Bob up here and I've got Ron down there. It's supposed to be. It's actually the same person, but that's, yeah, I didn't catch that in my edits. But I know a couple named Bob and Lynn, let's say, and they've got a comfortable home in the city, and they love their lake home. She's an artist. They've got children and grandchildren. She loves to travel. He's a homebody. He likes his recliner and he likes his Westerns. So they decided when they retired to enjoy the activities they love. And there's some couples that I've worked with who one half of the couple sometimes believes that everything has to be done together. Everything. And the other person might not want to do everything together. He might not like to go to those art shows that she likes to go to. Anyway, that's where the communication comes in, and that's when you identify what you want and you talk about it. So here they decided to stay in their current home, and they've designated money for the cabin. So he's wanting a new dock, pontoon, and paint for the sheds. And she wants flowers and a new gas stove for the cabin. Her painting supplies might be frames and canvas and brushes, travel expenses for her to go to the art shows with her friends, cable TV for him, a new recliner for him, and family time, fun money for them to spend on the kids and the grandkids when they go to the cabin or wherever they are. So let's talk about pressing pause, have a date night, and you know, we have great intentions, and sometimes things just don't get communicated because life happens. Day-to-day things happen, and that's why it's nice to press pause and just make it fun. I had a couple, they really wanted an RV. That's what their dream was. And they knew it was too expensive. They realized that. You know, a lot of times when I talk with couples and they identify what they want to do and go through their ideal life, and they calculate what it may cost, and a lot of times they're really relieved. They're like, okay, we're on track. It's good. We're good. But this couple, they knew that the RV was too expensive, but then once we get to talking about it, he's like, I don't like to drive that big thing, and they're paying to park. And she said, well, you know, I don't want to drag my whole house with me. So they decided to travel light and found that lodging was less expensive for them, a more affordable option. They could still travel, but they're doing it in a different way. And then they decided, you know, if we really want to go camping, we'll pull out the old tent and take that out and camp. So now that you know where you're going and have designated buckets of money, now it's time to think about your record keeping. It used to be thought of the best place to keep your items was at a safety deposit box at the bank. A lot of things you can keep at home, but how many of you use a portable storage device or scan things in on your computer and save them electronically? And there's some that do. Okay, so some do, some don't. It's up to you. It's your comfort level. Here's a couple of things. Now, with LPL, I don't know if any of you use Wealth Vision, but we have a records vault in Wealth Vision, so you can scan items there. So think about if you've got a safety deposit box at the bank and you're in Arizona for the winter and something happens, do you want to fly home to the snow and go to the bank and get whatever item it is, or would it be better to have it so you could download it? You know, you could have it in both places if that's what you want. But sometimes it's nice to just have it on a portable little drive that you can scan things. You don't have to shred them. You can if you want to. There's some originals that you definitely want to keep. You want to keep your passports. You want to keep your marriage certificates. You want to keep, you know, those vehicle titles and all of that. But sometimes it's just nice to be able to put them. This is just a little thumb drive you put into your computer, and you load your folders on here, and it's small and easy to put into a fireproof safe. There we go. Or you can put it in your bank safety deposit box. But that way, if you've got it scanned somewhere, you've got a backup plan. And you've also got an option so that if you are away from the area and you do want to access something, if there's an emergency, you've got an option. This is a portable hard drive. So this just holds more information. But really, if you didn't want to bring your laptop with you, if you wanted to put things on here and bring them with, or if you wanted to store them, that's an option too. And it's easy if you do need something to just print it out, think of it as a working copy, and then shred it later when you're done working with it. So you decide your preference, you decide your comfort level, where you want to store things. And I've got all of these lists in your packet there. And there's going to be some things that are going to be on the screen, but not on the print screens that you have, but there's an example in the folder that talk about the personal inventory and the where's it at list. So on your personal inventory handout, that's going to look like this. I'm going to talk with you about the different columns. This is something that you can easily do on your own if you want to just handwrite it on paper, or if you are more into the computer, then just pull open an Excel spreadsheet, and these are your columns. First, you've got your description, account number, company, amount, duration, notes or owners, and contact information. So the first one here, I've got Ken and Barbara, or Ken and Barbie. Ken has a pension plan, and that's from IBM, and he's getting $3,000 a month. Duration, doesn't apply. And, you know, you could put contact information if you had that. Social Security, they're both getting Social Security, and that's the amount they're getting per month. Duration, NA, and it lists who it belongs to. You could put, I think it's socialsecurity.gov is the website. And Ken's got an IRA. Here's the account number. It's with LPL. It's $300,000, and he has that with Summit Investment Advisors, and this is our phone number here. List bank accounts, credit cards, and if you've got, I would put an 800 number for the credit card. Whatever's on the back of the card, I would list that there. Now, saving your passwords, your user ID, and the website, I wouldn't keep that with this. I would keep it separately, but also notify whoever it is that helps you out. Notify them where that is as well. So if you're in an accident, if you all of a sudden are no longer with us, that whoever is there to take care of those things for you can have access to it. The bottom two, they've got life insurance and they've got long-term care. So life insurance, I have the amount of the policy and under the duration. He's got a 20-year term, which ends in 2018, and she's got a $100,000 whole life policy. Their long-term care benefit is $150 per day, and they've got that benefit for 4 years and at 5% compound interest. So there's account numbers. I would list the name of the long-term care company. I would have the contact information here. So whatever you have is what you put on the list. The reason I created this, and then we'll look at the where's it at also next, but the reason I created this, I worked for years with people with their money and transfer of assets after a death. And a couple I know, Bernice and Gary, they were coming in for the regular reviews, and all of a sudden Gary passed away suddenly. He took care of everything. Bernice didn't know anything. He kept everything. She would come in week after week with grocery bags full of papers, and we would sort and we would sort. And it took, for the items that she didn't have, or that they didn't have with the LPL accounts, those other items, it took about a year to sort through and process everything. And she didn't even know what they had. She didn't know if she could afford to buy a car, and she could have bought whatever car she wanted, and finally she did. You know, she was able to pay cash for it, but she had no idea. And so that's why I like to help people getting their finances in order and just having a list of where things are. Do you realize what would happen if you weren't around? You know, who would need to step in and pick up the pieces and look at your finances and your paperwork and all of that? You know, I want you to feel prepared during an emotional time. And we don't intend to leave behind things where no one can find them or that there's questions, but life happens, and urgent things are seldom important and important things are seldom urgent. You've probably heard that before. So it's where we intend to do them, but life happens, things come up. So I like you to press pause and take time to actually do the inventories and then let someone know where they are. So the where's it at, that's basically 2 columns. You can do that on a spreadsheet, or you can take a piece of paper and a ruler, draw down the middle and across the top, do a T, and write in there, this is the item and this is the location. Just as simple as that. It doesn't have to be, it just has to be legible. So I've got a list in my book, and there's some examples that you have in what you have in the handouts there. But let's say we've got keys, extra keys. Maybe there's boat keys or cabin keys or extra vehicle keys, or, you know, any kind of extra keys. Where are they? So maybe those are in the home safe in the office closet. Homeowner insurance policies, home office file, bottom drawer. Checking account statements, those are downloaded to Quicken. These are just examples. Credit cards, frozen in a block of ice in the freezer. Have you ever heard that one? Some people do that. Gun collection. Where's your gun collection? Is that in the gun safe in the basement storage closet? Would anybody even know if someone had a basement storage closet with a gun safe in it? Would anybody even know that it's there? I mean, some people, some will, some won't, but You know, how about jewelry? This one gal had her fine jewelry in a hat box in her master bedroom closet, and it was found later. So basically, take whatever you have and list it out. So list out, where are your mortgage papers, your mutual fund statements, your pension statements, your IRAs. Social Security statements, we don't get those any longer. Those are online. But for years, people have saved them. So that's on here as well. Deeds, land contracts, first rights of refusal, you know, whatever it is that you have, just list it out and have 2 columns. So it doesn't have to be hard. It'll be very easy. The hard part is just designating that time, pressing pause and actually doing it, and then letting people that you know would need to find it, letting them know just where it is. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. When it comes to spending, there's some not it financial choices. Boy, I got really behind, didn't I? Or maybe I went behind that, or the wrong way that far. Far too often, people use shopping as therapy to give themselves a boost and to feel better about themselves for a while. Unfortunately, the uplift from shopping only lasts a little while, and I've worked with people who have an overflow of stuff and credit card debt, and they maybe want to travel or do something fun, and they just don't see a way around it. I worked with a couple, and they thought they needed a bigger house. That's why they came to me. And once we talked, it's like, okay, here's what it is. In the closet, they've got things with tags on, they've shopped for, they don't really need it. It just was on sale. They get coupons in the mail. You know what, here's $25 off of $50. This is not money, it's paper. You know, it's great if you're going to buy the item anyway, it's something you want, but there's a lot of people out there that do the recreational spending and they think, oh my gosh, I saved all this money. Well, maybe you did. But back to this couple, so what they did is they took and cleared their house, sold it, took the trip, and when they came back, they were reunited as a couple, and then they went through and painted their house, it got it all spruced up, and they stayed there because they didn't need a bigger house after all. But they did look at some new storage options too, and really connected on their spending. But think about cost of use of an item. So let's say I buy a pair of running shoes and it costs $100. So if I wear those one time, those running shoes cost me $100. Let's say I wear those running shoes 3 times a week for a year, then that's 64 cents per wear. So if you're wearing something a lot, you know, just think about that when you're spending. Spending out of guilt, not it. This doesn't right wrongs, and recipients can learn how to push you to feel guilty if there's a reward at the end. Learn to resist the urge to splurge on gifts and treats for yourself and others. Spending in a delusional way, turning a blind eye to it, and not watching what's in your account, charging more than you know you have. If I don't see it, it's not an issue. And it's like the monster in the closet. You just keep the door closed and it'll go away. I've coached people that have that thought in their heads. And then the spending because you have a coupon. That's a not it. Have a monthly meeting or, you know, have a date night and be on the same page with where your current balances are and discuss upcoming expenditures, both long-term and the short-term. Don't be like Bernice and Gary. You know, Bernice was really in the dark. She just didn't know. And then when he passed away, she really didn't know. So, in your packet, you'll see you have homework. I'm a coach, so I give homework. And it's at the end of my finance chapter. So see exactly where you are financially to the penny. Ask yourself, is this where I want to be? What changes do I want to make to quickly move to the dream, or to my ideal, if you don't like the word dream? Maybe you decide it's time to quit smoking. Ask yourself, are my needs being met? Then copy the contents of your wallet. Think about everything that's in your wallet. If you lost your wallet and a credit card was in there, would you know how to contact that credit card company to say it's stolen? And then do the where's it at inventory, personal inventory, and list of where things are located. And then contact your financial advisor for a review of your accounts and your goals. These circles are in my book, and this is how I recommend, there's a large age range and such as far as who's reading the book, but I recommend spending on your personal needs first. Make sure that you're getting what you need with your nutrition and your fitness and your wardrobe and everything. I'm not saying be extravagant, but make sure you're getting to the barber or beautician and get your haircuts done and whatever it is you need for you. And then ripple that out to your home and transportation, and then out to your savings and debt repayment, and then your vacations, entertainment, and giving. And once those are all covered, you can spend more on any of the circles. But that's my recommendation in the book. So with that, I will close. I've got some other upcoming workshops that are listed in your folder that are coming up in the spring. It's not on here yet, but I'll be talking about fitness and nutrition and health. So that'll be in the spring, so we'll announce that. But there's investing in commercial real estate, the Alzheimer's Tsunami, and Feed My Starving Children event. So those are all coming up yet this fall. And I appreciate you all being here, and I wonder if you have any questions or comments.